What's up, YouTube and Evil Dead fans alike? And boy, do I have some cool shit to show you. Groovy. Now, if you're a big fan of the original film like I am, then you've probably heard about the famous time capsule that was buried once the film wrapped. But just in case you haven't, I'll get you up to speed.
Take two, sound 424. Action!
Now, way back in January of 1980, when the remaining cast and crew finally wrapped the Book of the Dead, they decided to bury a time capsule down in the hole where the cellar was dug out. Now, according to Bruce Campbell in an interview he did with Fangoria Radio in 2008, the time capsule was simply just a cigar box with a burnout Fresnel light bulb in it, some gaffer's tape, a piece of its murder beam that he used in the movie to beat Linda over the head, and the code to unlocking the visual meaning behind the Evil Dead, whatever that is.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
In there is, I think, a burned out Fresnel light bulb. There's a piece of what we called its murder board, its murder beam.
Yes.
So that there's a piece of that. Mm-hmm. There's a piece of gaffer's tape, which is like duct tape.
Yep.
And Sam Raimi claims that the visual code, the code to unlock the visual meaning of Evil Dead, is in that time capsule.
Well, to get right down to it, what you are looking at right here are the remnants of that time capsule that Sam, Bruce, Josh Becker, and the rest of the cast and crew, what little there were, buried back in January of 1980. Pretty damn cool, huh? Now you may be wondering, how in the hell did I get this? Well, if you couldn't tell by my accent, I'm from Kentucky, which is only about 3 hours from Morristown, Tennessee, where they shot the Book of the Dead. Well, back in 2011, I was rereading If Chins Could Kill, and I came back across the section about the time capsule. And up until then, I'd always kind of thought, like, somebody has to have found this thing, right? Because I would think there'd be pictures on the internet or somewhere, posts about it saying like, hey, look, I found it. Here's the Evil Dead time capsule. And so I got to Googling, and I literally found nothing. Like, the only thing I found were like comments of people saying like, hey, I wonder who the lucky sumbitch is to find that, or, you know, I'd love to go try and dig myself. So that got me thinking, is like, well, it might still be there. So hell, maybe I only live 3 hours away. Let's go try and dig myself. Now, I'd already been to the cabin site twice. Once back in 2006 when there were more like remnants of the cabin that's still there, like pieces of wood and tin from the roof, and more of the chimney was there, and the two big Evil Dead trees were still actually standing out front. And then again in 2011 when more of it had been picked over and the trees had fallen down, sadly. But if you've ever been to the site, it's pretty easy to see where the cellar was dug out, because if you were to face where the front of the cabin was, with the chimney to your right, directly across from it is this large hole in the ground, and which is still there today. And according to Bruce Campbell, that's where they buried the time capsule, and, well, that's where I dug. So let me show you what I found. Well, Bruce mentioned that they buried it in a cigar box. Well, I found no cigar box, because go figure, after this many years, this cardboard is just going to disintegrate down in the ground. So, but I did find this almost like cardboard-like substance or piece that had been there. It's like layered paper, which is probably it. I don't know. It's either part of its murder beam that he talked about, or it's part of the cardboard box. I don't know, but I imagine this is part of the actual cardboard box that it was buried in. And the second piece that I found was this light socket. Basically, it's a socket to a normal Edison light bulb. That it may have been a prop bulb because it's really heavy, it's really thick, it's like porcelain, it's not metal. I don't know if it's some kind of a prop light or some kind of special film lamp that they had back then. It was like higher powered. I don't know, but the coolest part is this burnout light bulb that I found, which is probably the light bulb that Bruce mentioned, the burnout Fresnel light bulb. And it's still perfectly intact, except obviously it's burnout because of the coils in it are all, they're all broken up because it is burnout. But yeah, it's still perfectly intact, and that to me was definitely evidence that this was the bulb that Bruce Campbell had mentioned that they had buried. And lastly, there are 4 pieces of gaff tape that I found that Bruce Campbell also mentioned. But it's more like a duct tape, actually. So I don't know if they called duct tape gaff tape back then, or gaff tape was like duct tape. I don't know. But yeah, they're still perfectly intact. 4 pieces. Still got a lot of dirt on them and whatnot, which has to be the gaff tape that Bruce mentioned. It was in the time capsule. Now, you also may be wondering, how the hell do I know that this is the time capsule? Well, for the longest time, I actually didn't know myself. I suspected it was because why else would these film-related artifacts be buried in this hole where the cellar was dug out, back in this remote holler where nobody has lived in God knows how long, and hell, nobody even really goes except for maybe some hunters and Evil Dead fans. So it has to be part of it, or at least something that the film crew had used, right? Well, finally in 2019, I got the confirmation that I needed as I actually presented this to Sam Raimi himself at the Texas Frightmare Weekend in Dallas. So I'd waited in line for like 3 hours, and then when I finally got up to him for him to sign my DVD case and my poster, I laid this stuff out, and I told him that, hey, is this the time capsule? Because I went down there and I dug this up in the hole where the cellar was. He just kind of looked at it and he goes, oh my gosh, these are the spring lights we used. And so he immediately got up and he went over to the table next to it where Bruce Campbell was sitting. And Bruce was in some kind of like Elvis looking getup, but and he was like, look, Bruce, these are the spring lights. This is the time capsule we buried. And Bruce, he didn't give a shit. He wasn't even paying attention. He just started yelling at the crowd in front of him, everybody stay off of that property. You'll get shot by rednecks. But Sam brought it back over, and he looked at it a little more, and he took several pictures of it on his phone, and he smiled. He says, congratulations, you found the time capsule. Well, I was hoping that the pictures he took on his phone would surface on social media, but so far they haven't, damn it. But hopefully one day.
Why are you torturing me like this? Why?
So yeah, Sam Raimi himself actually confirmed that this is the Evil Dead time capsule. And, well, that's all the proof that I needed to know that, well, I now own a piece of horror cinema history.
Groovy.
Now, another cool thing to add is that from all my years working as a grip in the film industry, I actually got the opportunity to work with Teresa Tilley on Michael Rosenbaum's first film back in the day. And I, of course, took full advantage of that opportunity and asked her to sign my DVD case and my poster, which she gladly did. So there you have it, Evil Dead fans. The time capsule that the cast and crew had buried way back in 1980 after they wrapped the original installment of the Evil Dead series has been dug up and is in perfectly good hands up here in moonshine and bourbon country. Hey guys, just want to take a quick second to shamelessly plug my first feature film. It's called The Hopewell Haunting, and it's currently available on all streaming platforms. Now, it's nothing like The Evil Dead or even close to its intensity or gore factor, but if you're looking for a good old-fashioned ghost story with a good creep factor and retro vibes, then check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, Spectrum TV, YouTube, Apple TV, etc.